We'll go ahead and call the Monday, October 17th, 2026 Board of Commissioners regular meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone here. I was just about to announce that the Vice Chair is on her way, but she is walking in the back door now. We do have a full house tonight, so just appreciate if there's empty seats, please let somebody sit beside you and just let's all be neighborly tonight and make sure we've got room for everybody. All right, at this time, I will ask Commissioner Adams to bring the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
We could all stand, please. I'm waiting for you.
Okay,
Don't
thank
get
you.
set. You fine. All right. We could bow our heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come today just saying thank you. Father, we come to do the work that you ask us to do. We ask you to know that these are our neighbors that we are here with today. Father, we ask that you will let everything be done decent and in order, that we respect each and every one of us that are in this room tonight. Father, we ask you to bless everybody that came tonight. We'd ask you, even as the decisions are made, whether we are pleased or not pleased with them, that we would do it in a decorum kind of manner. Father, we'd ask you that as we leave this place, that you would encamp your angels around us, that we make it home safely. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's cool. All right, at this time, we'll move to the presentation portion of our meeting. First item is the 2027 adopted budget video. County Manager Greer.
Yes, Josh Villagomez, Communication and Outreach Coordinator for our PIO office, will present the annual budget video. Josh?
All right, so before we play the video, just kind of a rundown of what the video is. Every year we debut our annual fiscal year adopted budget highlights video. The video highlights the new and continuing priorities and funding allocations to ensure that a safe community, continued support for a high-performance education system, and more. Before we press play, though, also like to recognize the Public Information's Content and Programming Division for the hard work and collaboration that they did, that they put into making this video.
June 23, 2026, the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners adopted the fiscal year 2027 budget. The budget reflects a continued commitment to serving residents, maintaining fiscal responsibility, and investing in strategic priorities. Central to this year's budget was maintaining the current property tax rate while continuing to invest in the services and opportunities that support a strong and prosperous community. By maintaining the tax rate, Cumberland County is helping residents better plan while preserving the long-term financial stability needed to continue delivering essential services. Public safety remains one of the county's highest priorities. The fiscal year 2027 budget includes nearly $80 million in public safety investments and strengthens recruitment and retention efforts through a new Sheriff's Office career development and compensation plan. The budget also supports emergency services and continued efforts to strengthen emergency communications and regional 911 operations. Cumberland County continues to support a high-performing education system. The budget continues investments in Cumberland County schools and Fayetteville Technical Community College through increased current expense funding for both institutions. These investments help prepare students, strengthen our workforce, and support future economic growth. Included in the budget is nearly $126 million for public health and human services. While preparing for federal changes to Medicaid and SNAP programs, the county remains committed to working with departments and employees to ensure services remain effective, sustainable, and responsive to residents' needs. Community partnerships and opioid settlement settlement funding are also helping expand efforts to reduce opioid-related injury and death throughout Cumberland County. Strategic investments in infrastructure continue to position our community for future growth. The fiscal year 2027 budget includes more than $50 million in capital investments for infrastructure, facilities, and long-term planning. These projects support economic growth, improve quality of life, and help ensure Cumberland County remains a regional leader. Through thoughtful planning and innovation, Cumberland County continues supporting the employees who deliver services. The budget includes a 2.5% cost of living adjustment for eligible employees and continued investments in technology and facilities that improve service to residents. Every day, more than 2,000 dedicated county employees work together to deliver high-quality services and meet the evolving needs of our community. Through collaboration, planning, and strategic investment, we are building a strong, safe, and thriving Cumberland County for current and future generations.
And so if anybody wants to find more information about the FY27 adopted budget, they can visit our website, cumberlandcountync.gov, or check out our YouTube channel to watch the video again. Just look up YouTube, Cumberland County NC Government.
Commissioners, any comments on that presentation? Seeing none, Vice Chairman Jones, you're recognized.
I just wanted to say that our PIO communications team has been doing a great job. They've been working really hard on a lot of projects. So thank you all for that excellent video and also for the other projects that you all contribute for the awareness for our community.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We'll go ahead and move to recognitions at this time. And before we move to the first item, I do want to recognize our elected officials that are here tonight. We've got School Board Member Greg West is here with us, and I believe that is it that I saw at the time. So thank you for being here. We'll move to item A, recognition, Sustainable Sandhills Composting Pilot. County Manager Greer.
Yes, Assistant County Manager Faith Phillips will present this recognition.
Good evening, Chairman. Good evening,
Good evening.
Commissioners. Tonight, we would like to recognize partners whose dedication made the Cumberland Mills Elementary School composting pilot a standout success. Just a little bit of information, the EPA estimates that roughly a quarter of all landfill waste is food, and schools contribute significantly to that total. Cumberland Mills Elementary took an innovative step to change that. Through a collaborative pilot, students learned how to make smart waste decisions, reduce their environmental impact, and participate in hands-on lessons to build leadership and critical thinking skills. Thanks to the teamwork among Sustainable Sandhills, Cumberland County Schools Go Green Initiative, Organic Life Amendments, and the incredible staff at Cumberland Mills Elementary, with support from the North Carolina Composting Council, the school diverted more than 1,800 pounds of food waste from the landfill this year. So tonight, we proudly recognize the individuals whose commitment made this achievement possible, which include Principal Amy McDowell of Cumberland Mills Elementary, Vice Principal Bianca Wooten of Cumberland Mills Elementary, Teacher Barbara Kaskan of Cumberland Mills Elementary, Brandy Strickland from Organic Life Amendments, Trinity Vatier from Sustainable Sandhills, Michaela Ramos from Cumberland County Schools Go Green Initiative, and Kat Polk from North Carolina Composting Council. We want to thank each of them for their leadership and collaboration. And at this time, I would actually like to invite Trinity Vatier from Sustainable Sandhills to the podium for a brief presentation. This is all yours.
Good evening.
Good evening. There you go.
My name is Trinity Vettery. I am the Program Manager of Air Quality and Waste Management and also the Climate Resilience Specialist at Sustainable Sandhills. We're a regional nonprofit with a mission to strengthen communities by creating resilient environmental, economic, and social resources for current and future generations. I'm honored to be here today to present our process and impacts with the composting pilot at Cumberland Mills Elementary School this past school year. Funded by a grant from the North Carolina Composting Council, Sustainable Sandhills, Cumberland County Schools Go Green Initiative, Organic Life Amendments, and Cumberland Mills Elementary School teamed up to build and execute a pilot program that would reduce waste and teach about the importance of circularity. Collaboratively, we created, Collaboratively, we created an exciting curriculum for students and adults, a hygienic indoor-outdoor cafeteria organics collection procedure, and a convenient behind-the-scenes pickup schedule and data analysis feedback plan. Through these systems, our team was able to provide hands-on composting, waste diversion, and circularity education to students, which occurred in their own lunchroom. We were also able to model what schools, nonprofits, and private business collaborations could look like for the success of our community, highlighting that we are stronger together. And lastly, we were able to divert over 1,800 pounds of lunchtime cafeteria waste toward vermicomposting instead of going to the landfill. In the end, we will conserve only what we love, we will love only what we understand, and we will understand only what we have been taught. It's been a pleasure to teach and learn through coordinating the composting pilot at Cumberland Mills Elementary School. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, oh, you have? No. Commissioners, any comments on that recognition? All right.
But, you always got to say something.
Okay, I didn't see your light there, Commissioner Adams.
I thought that Commissioner Patel was going to do it because they come to FAMPO all the time.
You're recognized, Commissioner Adams.
Thank you. Do such a wonderful job. And I thank you because of, if it's not sustainable in this community, it impacts each and every one of us. And I think the air quality that you all do, we go through that all the time, don't we, is extremely important. You know, the people on Ramsey Street who dealing with the issue up there with the dirt and all, and you all are right in there with technology to help them and have this community understand this. Thank you so very much for what y'all do each and every day. All of you, thank you.
Commissioners, anyone else? All right, again, thank you for what y'all do in our community. The Sustainable Sandhills has been a vibrant part of our community for a long time with a voice that has been extremely active across our community, so thank you. At this time, we'll move to the public comment period. County Manager Greer, if you'll go ahead and provide the board rules and procedures for the public comment period.
The public comment period shall last no longer than 15 minutes. Time may be extended with the discretion of the board. Each speaker will have a maximum of 3 minutes to make remarks until the 15-minute limit is attained. No time may be yielded by a speaker but to another speaker. Speakers will be acknowledged by the board in the order in which their names appear upon the sign-up sheet. Speakers will address the board from the lectern and begin their remarks by stating their name and their address. Public comment is not intended, the public comment period is not intended to require the board to answer any impromptu questions. Speakers will not discuss matters regarding the candidacy of any person seeking public office. Speakers will be courteous in their language and presentation. Personal attacks will not be tolerated. Written comments and/or supporting documents may be left with the clerk to the board.
Thank you, County Manager Greer. At this time, we'll go ahead and open the public comment period. Madam Clerk, I'd ask you to call on the first speaker.
Shelby Harrell. Shelby Harrell.
Okay, not present. If you'll call the next speaker.
Ivory Thomas. Ivory Thomas.
Okay, not present. If you'll call the next speaker.
Carol Olinger.
Good evening, Ms. Ollinger. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for letting me speak. I'll be the first speaker, but people are probably at other meetings. I'm going to hand you these just in case I run out of time, and then they can read what I wanted to say. I am Carol Olinger. I live in Hope Mills. My organization is Action NC. We're a nonprofit group. We have offices here in Fayetteville, Durham, and Charlotte. I'm before you again, not just to be a representative for myself, but for the other people that stand behind me, for our community. We are at a pivotal moment in our journey, and it's time for us to make decisions on issues that affect us all every day. First, I'd like to talk about the emergency 911 system. This is not just a bureaucratic change, it's for all of us. Do you guys have a task force that's actually working with Fayetteville City? I believe that we should be able to call 911 and not worry about who's answering the phone. It should affect all of us. When we make that call, we shouldn't have to think about all the other things that I'm learning. Who's in control, where is that, if it's on the city or the county side. As a citizen, when I'm making that call for my husband who's having a heart attack, I just need someone to be able to answer and not switch me to something different. Next, the moratorium. Thank you for the 6 months. I do appreciate that. In the meantime, have you guys went to visit any other data centers? Have you formed committees that have nonprofit organizations or people in the community beyond the committee to help comprise ordinances and UDOs and stuff like that? Have you had a chance to do that? December will be here quick. That's something that should be happening. When you're thinking about those data centers and what you're going to put into place to protect all of us, think about the water, think about the PFAS, think about those closed loop systems, because at the end of the day, that water has to get discharged somewhere. And in Grays Creek and in different parts of the area, our area that we live in already has contamination. And we don't know what data center water cooling stuff, what those chemicals are going to add pollutants. We don't know what those are just yet. Our infrastructure. We want to have a city that, and county, that is thriving, that is for all of us, but at what cost? What are we doing to protect us moving forward? All of this information, I know I was going to run out of time. I will be respectful and stop, but when you're thinking about the Medicaid and Medicare and all of that, they've added work requirements to 16-year-olds to receive services. That's just terrible. There's just so much. I left full packets for you to read everything else that I couldn't say. Usually when I leave, I say forward together, not one step back, so I'll just say that here without getting in trouble, and I'll sit down and be quiet. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk, will you call the next speaker?
Carmela McKellar.
Greetings, my name is Carmela McKellar. I live
Good
in,
evening.
I live in Fayetteville. And I serve as president of the Region 6 project here in Fayetteville. As the only culture and arts center in Cumberland County with a focus on the culture, history, and art of Black, Indigenous, and people of color, the Region 6 project pays particular attention to what's happening in our community on this front. We were quite excited to hear of the potential of a Black History Museum in our community. We participated in the workshops, attended the public presentations, presentation at the City Council, and watched the YouTube presentation here for the County Commissioners. I was left with a number of questions. Chief among those questions were costs that felt a bit highball-esque. Unfortunately, I can't seem to access a public-facing work product of the $900,000 feasibility study or of the actual final proposal on either the city, county, or Black Voices Museum website. However, what I did find were a list of goals as stated for the Black Voices Museum. One of the goals was to promote healing instead of celebrating trauma. I don't know if that sits well with you all, but I have yet to come across any people that look like me that felt that that was an appropriate kind of goal as a statement for a Black History Museum. It's inappropriate. The goals were one thing. To see the numbers that don't make sense is another thing. To see a statement like this is extremely problematic. How do we entrust the telling of our stories to those with this as a stated goal? How many more times will we be asked to stand aside while those without true understanding of our stories tell our stories? Finally, we believe that there can be a more feasible proposal for this endeavor. $215 million is out of line with any of the comps that I've seen of recent museum developments. So, to that end, we are proposing that Region 6, as a culture and arts center who studies, protects, and preserves the history, culture, and art of the Black, Indigenous, people of color of this community, be afforded an opportunity to submit alternative proposals to what has been defined. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk, are there any other speakers?
There are no more speakers.
All right, at this time, we will close the public hearing, or excuse me, the public comment period, and we'll move to item 1, approval of the agenda. County Manager Greer, are there any additions to the agenda or changes?
Yes, Chairman Devier, we need to remove item 2M. It was approved at the agenda session.
Okay.
Then we need to add paragraph 5 under closed session for property acquisition.
And Mr. Chairman, a very brief attorney-client matter related to litigation.
Okay, Commissioners, anything else to add or delete? We'll also, board request to add a proclamation honoring CW3 Benjamin Washington to the consent agenda as item 2U, as his services this week. Hearing no other additions or deletions, I'll entertain a motion. Vice Chairman Jones, you're recognized for a motion.
Yes, I move that we approve the agenda at this time.
Second.
We got a motion to approve the agenda with the changes mentioned. Is properly seconded. Any discussion or comments on the motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for your vote. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Unanimous.
One day we'll get back to our,
I had it ready.
I know, I'm not even logged in. This time, we'll go ahead and move to consent agenda. Commissioners, any changes to the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Vice Chairman Jones, you recognize.
Yes, I move that we approve the consent agenda with the minute changes.
Second. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda. It's been properly seconded with changes. Are there any comments or questions on the motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for your vote. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Unanimous.
At this time, we have a couple recognitions that we will do now that they were approved in the consent agenda. The first one, we approved, I'm going to go ahead and do it first. We went ahead and approved the National Senior Day Proclamation, and at this time, I'm going to ask Vice Chairman Jones to read that presentation. I believe we're going to present it at a different day, but we want to go ahead and acknowledge it tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and that is correct. National Seniors Day is actually on Friday.
Commissioner Fairclough said he should read it as the oldest one. Go ahead, Vice Chairman.
So National Seniors Day, we appreciate our seniors, will take place Friday, August 21st. So this proclamation is in honor of National Seniors Day, as well as honoring the life and legacy of former city council member who was an advocate for seniors and a great public servant, Mr. Former city council member Bill Quist Sr. So I will now read this, as we will be presenting it, though, in person on Friday, inviting you all out, Friday 21st, at the Bill Quist Center, West Fayetteville, from, I do believe, 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And the proclamation reads as states, whereas the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners recognizes our civilian seniors, senior veterans, retired service members, military spouses, and military families as invaluable members of our community, and expresses a sincere appreciation for their lifetime of service, sacrifice, leadership, wisdom, experience, and countless contributions to Fayetteville and Cumberland County. And whereas on Friday, August 21st, 2026, community leaders, organizations, families, veterans, and residents will gather at the Bill Quist Senior Citizens Center, 7560 Rayford Road, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28304, for the inaugural National Seniors Day Conference and Recognition Luncheon, a special occasion dedicated to celebrating and supporting seniors, citizens ages 55 and older throughout Fayetteville and Cumberland County. And whereas the inaugural event is hosted by Let's Make It Happen Together under the leadership and founder of President Mr. Swan Davis, who also serves as the vice chairman for the JCPC, which stands for Juvenile Crime Prevention, and the other co-host is the Fayetteville Mayor Pro Tem, District 6 Council Member Derek Thompson. Their collective leadership demonstrates a shared commitment to honoring our seniors and enhancing their health, wellness, independence, engagement, and overall quality of life. And whereas this conference will provide seniors with a complimentary luncheon, inspiring and informative speakers, health and wellness, screenings and information, community vendors, along with valuable resources connecting older adults with organizations and services dedicating to meeting their needs. This event promotes fellowship, healthy and active living, and strong community connections, and whereas Cumberland County proudly celebrates the generations of seniors who have helped build and strengthen our community through their careers, families, volunteerism, civic involvement, military service, mentorship, and community leadership. We recognize this important contribution of our civilian and military communities and the long-lasting important contributions they've made between Cumberland County, the city of Fayetteville, and Fort Bragg. And whereas also we recognize the important role many of our seniors have played in churches and faith-based organizations where generations of faith, service, compassion, and love of God have strengthened families and communities. And whereas the Board of Commissioners remember William Bill Quist as a man of faith who was committed to God and service to others was reflected throughout his life. And whereas this special occasion honors the memory and enduring legacy of William Bill Quist, a proud United States Army veteran who served our nation with dedication for 27 years, retiring at the rank of Command Sergeant Major. He continued his commitment to public service for 6 years on the Fayetteville City Council representing District 6, devoting his leadership and experience to the community, but proudly served. And whereas Bill Quist was a devoted public servant, respected community leader, and tirelessly advocated for senior citizens, he passed away on July 28, 2021, at the age of 81. He left an enduring legacy of service, civic leadership, compassion, and commitment to improving the well-being and quality of life of older adults. And whereas it is a special fitting this inaugural celebration be held at the Bill Quist Senior Citizens Building, which bears his name and continues the spirit of service, fellowship, advocacy, dignity, and respect for seniors. And whereas the National Seniors Day Conference and Recognition Luncheon is intended to become an annual community tradition, providing a meaningful occasion every year to celebrate our seniors, strengthening connections to essential resources and services, promote healthy and active living, encouraging community engagement, and renewed Cumberland County's continued commitment for dignity, independence, inclusion, wellness, and quality of life of its seniors proclamation. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, we, the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners, hereby recognizes Friday, August 21st, 2026, in celebration of the inaugural National Seniors Day Conference and recognition luncheon and extends heartfelt appreciation and gratitude to each and every senior citizen of Fayetteville and Cumberland County, our civilian seniors, senior veterans, retired service members, military spouses, and military families for their lifetime of service, sacrifice, wisdom, leadership, faith, and countless contributions to our families and communities. Be it there proclaimed that the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners proudly honors the life and enduring legacy of William Bill Chris, United States veteran, retired Command Sergeant Major, former Fayetteville City Council member, devoted public servant, community leader, man of faith, and tirelessly advocate for senior citizens. We encourage all citizens to honor, support, and remain committed to the health, dignity, safety, independence, inclusion, and quality of life of our senior population for generations to come. Adopted this 17th day of August 2026, signed by Cumberland County Chairman Kirk J. Deviere.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chairwoman. Next, it's always special in this community as a military community to acknowledge our Purple Heart recipients as well as this time of year as well. But we also have one of our own who was recently appointed as a national commander for the Military Order of the Purple Heart, and she is here with us tonight. So I'd like to ask Commander Figueroa Lowe to come forward while I read the proclamation, and then I'll join you at the podium very briefly. So thank you for being here. We'll give you a couple minutes to bring your greetings after we read the proclamation. So whereas the Purple Heart Medal was established by General George Washington at Newburgh, New York on August 7, 1782 during the Revolutionary War. As an incentive to the Continental Army, it is an American medal that is awarded in the name of the President of the United States and is the oldest military decoration in the world in present use. Whereas the Purple Heart is awarded directly or posthumously to members of the armed forces who are wounded or die from wounds received in armed conflict with an enemy force, or were held by an enemy force as a prisoner of war, or are wounded or killed as a result of friendly fire or otherwise designated by the President of the United States. And whereas in July 2026, the Military Order of the Purple Heart held the 93rd Annual Convention in New Bern, North Carolina. During the convention, patriots were elected to serve as national officers. The officers served as executive head of the Military Order of the Purple Heart and will carry out orders and directives of the National Convention. Whereas on July 15, 2026, Francis Figueroa Lowe was elected as a national commander for the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners hereby salutes the valiant men and women who are the recipients of the Purple Heart and recognize the support and sacrifices of their loved ones. The board also wishes to congratulate Commander Figueroa Lowe on her appointment as a national commander and say thank you for her continued service to our community, the armed services, and the nation. Adopted the 17th day of August, signed Kirk J. Deviere, Chairman. This proclamation, and any good military, we have to have coins. So I'm going to present you with my commander's coin as well.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for what you did. Congratulations, and we're glad to have one of our own as a national commander.
Thank you so
let me
much.
Flip this way. Oh. Don't tell us what to do. Well, please give some applause. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners and staff for recognizing our Purple Heart recipients and our veterans of the community. I am very grateful and honored to be here to accept this resignation from you guys. Our organization is dedicated to helping Purple Heart recipients, but all veterans in the community, not just here in North Carolina, but in all states as we encompass Purple Heart recipients in all of the states in the U.S. to include Hawaii, Guam, Alaska. So again, I appreciate all the support from all of the community members.
thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And Commissioners, before I ask you, we also do have to recognize one of our own, our clerk does tireless work on behalf of the Purple Heart Associations across the state. So thank you as well. Commissioners, any comments? All right, we will go ahead and move to item 3, our public hearings. County Manager Greer, I'd ask for you to provide the board rules and procedures for public hearings.
Yes, the public hearing procedures are as follows. Arguments by the proponents and opponents should be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes for each side. If there's no group representative, each speaker shall be allotted a maximum of 3 minutes until the 10-minute time period is attained. Rebuttals will only be permitted at the discretion of the chairman with a maximum of 1 3-minute presentation by each side.
This time, we'll go ahead and move to the first case, case ZON 260015. County Manager Greer, you're recognized.
Yes, the first zoning case is a request for rezoning from A1 agricultural to R40 residential district. Ross Howard, Planning and Inspection Director, will present this item and answer any questions you may have. Ross, good evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. County Manager. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
As County Manager stated, the first case that we have for you this evening is case ZON 260015. You can see that the case is highlighted out just outside of Stedman. You can see highlighted in the red star on the location map on the screen. The applicant and owner is Mr. Todd Mobley and Jesse W. Hall Jr. The agent is also Mr. Todd Mobley. The request to go from A1 to R40 with the intent of residential. As you can tell, this case was heard about 3 or 4 months ago to the board. If you recall, the request at that time was actually to go to R30. I think the action of the board at that time was to actually send it back to the planning board and work with staff to come back with a more, I'm assuming, acceptable proposal. So we did that. We met with the applicant, had a really good meeting, and that ended up going to the planning board, and we'll go into what the recommendations are a little bit later. But that did happen. So this is the case. You can see it's highlighted. This is the 2 parcels. Let me see if I can get my, there it is. So you can see here's Mary McCall Road. It's these 2 parcels that are highlighted in red. It sits just south of Harvest Grain Drive. So just looking at the subject property, it's largely surrounded by woods to the south and the west, but to the north and the east, you do have an established subdivision that is there currently with single-family residential homes. Just to provide an aerial with a zoning map, you can see largely a lot of the zoning in the immediate area out here there is some R30 to the north here, but largely it's a lot of A1 that you can see completely surrounding the site. This is just an aerial, and I think what was mentioned in the previous case is there's a house that is existing here. There's another house here that we were working out the specifics as to if they wanted to split that is here that's associated with the property, and then there's a house up here to the north. So there's some hydric soils to the western part of the property, but the eastern side is kind of spotty, but you can see that there are some presence of hydric soils. There are no immediate water and sewer lines in the vicinity. When staff looked at this against the Stedman area land use plan, which is what this is governing for this area, R30 and this particular request for R40 is appropriate. You can see the applicable goals and objectives to try to be able to meet housing needs for an area. But we felt that the request is consistent with the adopted land use plan. This is the subject property standing on Mary McCall Road. You can see the sign displayed prominently out by the street for all to see. So there's the house, and then there's the other house I mentioned before is just behind here. This is the west view, looking pretty much at the site that's on the other side of the street. This is the south view with the site immediately on the, well, actually it's on both sides of the road, I should say. And this is going to be the north view, similar situation. You got the site on both sides of the road. So when we took the R40 request, staff did recommend approval of that. We took it to the planning board, and they ended up supporting it by a 6-0 vote when we actually worked out all the issues. So that's what we have. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer what I can.
Commissioners, questions before we go to the public hearing? Commissioner Tyson, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just 2 quick things. One, I believe, and it may have been the last meeting that we had discussed kind of including in the staff report some of our future expansion of public utilities so that we could have that information in the staff report. And I'm curious whether that's been followed up on in this report, but also just in general.
In general, yes. I would say that we reached out to our partners for the ability to be able to get the data. One of the larger ones that we meet with are PwC, and we actually had a very, very good meeting with PwC, and they pretty much gave us all of their data that we're trying to incorporate into the GIS system that we have right now. As far as what we have for the county-owned, we're still working that through to be able to get data. I think a large part of that is that PwC obviously is a lot more developed system because they've been around for a lot longer. It's just being able to get the data from the county, but we are trying to work through that now.
And then on the attachments that are included with the application, does staff typically, if the applicant has something that they wish to disclose to the board or the planning commission, is that typically included in the packet, or do they have to request that separately?
They would have to request that separately.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Tyson. Commissioners, any other questions or comments before we move to the public hearing? All right, seeing none, at this time, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
We have 2 speakers in favor. First speaker is Todd Mobley.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening. Good evening.
My name is Todd Mobley. I live in Stedman. I'm the applicant on this case. And I just want to remind the Commissioners that we're coming back to you after going to the Planning Department again and determining if R40 would meet the needs of the current owner of the property. And it was determined that through a group development, we could subdivide the home out with the 1.6 acres that we were looking for. So we followed the recommendation of the board, and we ask that you approve the zoning request. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, if you call the next speaker.
Jesse Hall.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Jesse Hall, Jr. I currently reside in Vander. I have moved away from Stedman. I'd like to remind you that I'm the reason that we need a zoning change. Mr. Mobley asked to purchase the entire property, and I said I wanted to hold out Mary McCall's birthplace house, which I own, and that required a zoning change. To my knowledge, there are no development plans. Mr. Mobley, again, wanted to buy the entire parcel. So I appreciate your guidance in June, and it was obviously successful. I'd appreciate your approval of the R40. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, are there any more speakers?
There are no more speakers.
At this time, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, I will, do you have any questions or comments on this case? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. Commissioner Patel, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to just thank the planning board members and staff to work with the applicant and get this change in place. So with that, I will move to approve the rezoning request in case ZON-26-0015 from A1 Agricultural District to R40 Residential District. The board finds that the request is consistent with the Stedman area land use plan, which calls for suburban density residential at this location. The board also finds that the request is reasonable and in the public interest that is compatible to and in harmony with the surrounding land use activities and zoning.
Second.
We get a motion to approve the rezoning request from A1 to R40. It's been properly seconded. Any discussion or comments on the motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for your vote. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Unanimous.
We'll go ahead and move to item B, case ZON 260025. Director Howard, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As you stated, this is case ZON 260025. This case is located in the most southwestern part of the county, as you can see highlighted by the star. The applicant owner is Irvin Locklear and Reddy Marie Locklear. There is no agent. The request is to go from A1 to A1A. The stated intent from the applicant was to allow for another home on the property that they already have now, so it's just the placement of a second home. You can see, this is William Duke Road, this is Chickenfoot. William, let me see if I can get the arrow first. Let's see. There we go. So this is Chickenfoot Road, as you can see here. The site itself is located in this crosshatch. William Duke Road is largely a Class C, substandard Class C street, which is a fancy way of saying a dirt road. But basically just goes through here, and I'll show you the aerial in a minute, but you can get the idea of what the subdivision of the area looks like. It is a residential area. You can see it's got a little bit of single-family residential and some manufactured on there as well. The aerial you can see, so the road comes in off of Chickenfoot, comes back through here, and then kind of splits off in this area back in through here. And you can see it's sort of just like a hodgepodge of Class C streets with lots that are sort of back off of the beaten path, so to speak. Close-up of the property, or I should be able to point out as well, this area is largely A1, as you can see here, if you look at the surrounding zoning. So you can see it's largely just a large lot, primarily agricultural area. You can see that this is the home in question. They're currently sitting on about 2.1 acres. So in A1, they would not be able to subdivide. Under A1A, that's a 1 acre minimum lot size, so they could either be able to subdivide or do a group development. There is no water and sewer in this area. Very limited presence of hydric soils. You can see in the green on the property. When looking at the applicable plan for the area, this sits in the South Central Land Use Plan area, which designates this as farmland, which just promotes rural character and farming. So the associated zoning districts for farmland are A1, A1A, R40, and R40A, and then conservation. So with the request going to A1A, staff did feel that this was a compliant request with our plan. This is the subject property. You can see the sign. This is the north view of William Duke Road, looking down the road with the site immediately on the left-hand side. This is the east view of the property, looking pretty much across the Class C street I was just mentioning before. And then this is the southwest view of the William Duke Road with the site immediately on the right-hand side. Staff had recommended approval of request. When we took this to the planning board, I believe in June is when this went. This was approved, as you can see, by a 7-0 vote by the board, pretty much on their consent. So, I mean, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer what I can.
Commissioners, questions before we go to the public hearing? Seeing none, at this time we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
This time we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, any additional comments or questions on this item, on this case? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Vice Chairman Jones, you're recognized.
Yes, I move to approve the rezoning request from A1 Agriculture District to A1A Agriculture District. The board finds that the request is consistent with the South Central Land Use Plan, which calls for farmland at this location. The board also finds that this request is reasonable and in the best of the public interest, as it is compatible to and in harmony with the surrounding land use activities and zoning.
Second.
We've got a motion to approve the rezoning request from A1 to A1A. It's been properly seconded. Any discussions or comments on the motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for your vote. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Unanimous.
We'll go ahead and move to item C, case ZON 260028. Director Howard, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. This is case ZON 260028. As you can see, this request is located primarily in the Bethany area, which is the basically east central part of the county, as highlighted by the star. The applicant owner is Bethany Rural Fire Department. Kevin Carroll is their agent. The request is to go from RR Rural Residential to C2P Planned Services and Retail. I would point out it's about 1.42 acres, but the overall tract is about 1.62 acres. This is an interesting looking piece of property. You can see by the crosshatch that is located here, the parcel also is recorded with this little arm piece that sticks out as a second little arm on it. They are not including that in this request. They're only looking at the square portion is what they're trying to rezone. I think their intent is to try to do something, maybe give that to the owners or something, but functionally it's not a very usable piece of property. So, but it's there. So sitting outside of this area, you can see the different types of land uses. You got a fire station, which is the institutional use. You got some commercial on all four corners. This is the Wade Stedman and the Maxwell Road intersection, for those of you that might be familiar with the geography. But you can see the red, it's just a mix of housing and commercial development. Planning very much sees this as a commercial node area for that particular location of the county. Some zoning, you can see the zoning out here. You have CP conditional all around here. You have C2P across the street. We felt that since you have a hard CP on the corner, that the request from C2P was actually pretty good as a transition back into the residential areas. This is the site itself, for those of you that might be familiar with the fire department. There is water that sits out of the intersection, but there's no active sewer that we can find. So, I mean, but there is a water line that's out in this area. When we look at this request against the Bethany area land use plan, which was adopted in 2024, it does call for this area to be commercial, with various goals and objectives that you can see that are stated there. The associated zoning districts for commercial are CD, ONIP, C1P, C2P, and CP. So we felt the request from C2P was consistent with the adopted land use plan. This is the Bethany Fire Department. This is looking in the southeastern view. We did put the sign in the little bit of grass we could find on this site, which is over here by the pole, so it's there. But you can see that this is southeast view with the site immediately on the left-hand side, as I stated. This is the southwest view, pretty much looking right across the street. And then this is the northwest view with the site immediately on the right-hand side. Staff did recommend approval of the request. This actually went to the planning board at their most recent meeting, who also supported that by a 9-0 vote. So if you got any questions, I'll try to answer what I can.
Commissioners, questions on this case before we open the public hearing? Seeing none, at this time, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, if you'll call the first speaker.
There are no speakers.
We'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Commissioners, questions on this case or comments? Commissioner Adams, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make sure that the community and Bethany knows that we're not just closing the fire station. They relocated to a different fire station that was much more conducive to that community. And this is just the old fire one that they are trying to get rid of.
Stepping on the fire commissioner down
Oh,
there.
I'm sorry. I want the people to know. You got to be quick on that button.
Any other questions or comments on this case? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Tyson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Commissioner Adams, for that. They actually built a new station down the street, but thank you for that clarification. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the rezoning request from RR Rural Residential District to C2P Planned Service and Retail District. The board finds that the request is consistent with the Bethany area land use plan, which calls for commercial at this location. The board also finds that the request is reasonable and in the public interest, as it is compatible to and in harmony with the surrounding land use activities and zoning.
Second.
We got a motion to approve the rezoning request from RR to C2P. It's been properly seconded. Any further discussion or comments on the motion? Seeing none, I will ask for your vote. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Unanimous.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and move to item D, case ZON 260031. Director Howard, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Let me get this thing queued up. Case 31, here we go. As you stated, this is case ZON 26-0031. This is also in the Bethany area, pretty popular place this month. So you can see highlighted by the red star where this is in the east central part of the county. The applicant owner is the Reserve at South River LLC and Pamela Williams. The agent is Smith Site Consultants. The request is to go from A1 agricultural to R40 residential for just a little over 36 and a half acres. You can see this is South River School Road here. Voices Landing is a road that cuts through here. It's essentially part of the plat, but the property itself pretty much surrounds this area here, which includes that sort of road access that cuts through here. And you'll see that road here in just a little bit to see what that access is also in the back part of the property. This is largely an agricultural area out here. You do have some single-family residential and some manufactured homes that are within the vicinity. There was a lot of discussion about this at the planning board, about the agricultural impacts on this area, that there were some mentions about the voluntary agricultural districts. I just thought that since we had so much discussion, I at least have a map up here to show everybody what the maps of these VADs are. So these purple, this is a turkey farm that's currently right here. As I said before, this is Boyce's Landing Road that cuts through here and then comes down. It actually provides access to a lot of the parcels that are back here in the back. But you can see there's a turkey farm here. There's some working fields, but the VAD boundaries, these purple things are the half-mile buffers for the VAD districts. So when you're in a half-mile buffer, when you're in the half-mile buffer, really the VAD is more that if you go for plating in that particular area, the county staff and the surveyor is required to put notes on the plat that state that this is an agricultural area and that you have to be sensitive to that, whoever's buying the property. But we have two VADs here that primarily affect it. There's a third one that affects this here in the back corner. But again, I just wanted to put this map up there so you can see, since there was such a talk about agriculture for this area. This is the zoning for the area. It's largely A1, it's pretty much surrounding it, a lot of large lots. This subdivision down here is pretty much 2-acre lots. I was looking at that today, as you can see here, where it says like the Madeline Drive. But for the most part, you can see it's, it's a large agricultural area. A little bit of a zoom in. There's a water line that sits out here off of the main road, but there is no sewer out here, so there would have to be a potential application for septic permits. When we looked at this against the Bethany area land use plan, it does call for rural for this area. So you can see the goals and objectives. I won't read those to you for here, but the R40, I would point out that R40 and R40A may be appropriate, but only when compatible with the surrounding area, and then it should only be for conditional zoning. So staff felt that with the agricultural considerations that we had out there, we didn't feel like it was particularly compatible with the area, and then so that's why we had said it wasn't consistent. This is the subject property, as you can see, with the sign out there in the front. This is the south view along South River School Road with the site immediately on the left-hand side. This is looking across the street. And then this is the north view of South River School Road with the site immediately on the right-hand side. So staff did recommend denial of the request when we took this to the most recent planning board meeting. They also had recommended denial by an 8-to-1 vote. I think largely there were some considerations about fit and the agriculture that was out there. So, I mean, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer what I can.
Commissioners, questions before we move to the public hearing? Commissioner Adams, you're recognized.
I just have, are there stormwater issues out here with the water sitting?
I haven't heard anything from any of the body that we sent this out for technical review. We didn't get any of those kind of comments back.
Anything else, Commissioner Adams?
No, sir.
Commissioner Tyson, you're recognized.
You said that the R40 may be appropriate with conditions. What were some examples of those, just so that?
Well, I mean, that's if you want to do a conditional zoning. I mean, really, it would be more of any conditions the planning board or this board would wish to put on that. So, I mean, that's that's what the conditional zoning is pretty much for. I think a lot of the policies that are related in the plans that relate to that particular statement are about fit. I mean, because obviously, as I stated, there's a lot of agriculture and a lot of moving parts out there with that kind of stuff out there. So I think that the idea being is that if it was conditioned, you could put conditions on the site plan and the site itself that may help mitigate that. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioners, any other questions before we move to the public hearing? All right, we'll go ahead. We'll have time. I'll have an opportunity for more questions after the public hearing. At this time, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, if you will call the first speaker.
We have 13 speakers.
Okay.
First speaker is in favor is Kenneth Smith.
So, Madam Clerk, we have 13 total speakers.
4 in favor, 9 opposed.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Kenneth Smith. Smith Site Consultants. I'm the engineer assisting the landowner and the applicant, which is the developer here. Wanted to go over a few points. Rawls had brought up Boyce's Landing out there. That is its own private street. With what we would be seeking to do with the R40 rezoning, we're not going to touch Boyce's Landing. It would stay as is, and no egress would come from Boyce's Landing. Our egress would actually come from South River School Road itself, and we'd be seeking to do DOT paved streets. Moving on, I went through the future land use plan. Again, it does allow R40. We were instructed to go with a straight rezoning, hence why we went that route. But at the Joint Planning Board level, I offered that option of, if you'd rather, we'll double back and look at conditional. It was basically stated to us, just proceed as is. We don't think that's going to help anything. The land has been evaluated by Mike Aker, a licensed soil scientist. Over 90% of the land works for septic. A wetlands report was then done. Less than 2% is wetlands, and that 2% area will actually be in a dedicated open space area with a very large buffer to protect it. Public water, as mentioned, is available out front, and a hydrant flow test was conducted and provided to the Cumberland County Fire Marshal's office to prove that it was adequate. They were good with it. Spoke with NCDOT. Traffic counts are pretty low. They were okay with us proceeding with a single entrance in and out, no TIAs required. Currently, by right, with A1, we are allowed to install 16 to 17 lots the way it is currently. The reason we're going for R40 is we're trying to be fair to the owner and provide them, what we both agree is beneficial to both parties. In doing so, R40, with the layout that we have drawn, would allow for 28 lots. Once again, we did offer to go back and investigate the conditional route, if that was something that might be heard, but for now, we're just proceeding with the case as is. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. I know this board in the past has been open to R40, and that's why we sought R40 between future land use plan and this board's comments, so.
Thank you, sir. We'll
Thank
bring
you.
you back up if we have questions.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, if you'll call the next speaker.
Pam Williams.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Pam Williams, and I reside in the Eastover community. I am the owner of the 36.61 acres under review for rezoning. I'd like to give you a little background on myself and the land, if that's okay. My late husband and I bought this property at auction in 1990. It had belonged to his parents, consisting of 92 acres and their home. We built our first house on the farm and also built the turkey houses there in 1995. In 2012, we sold our first house and built our second home on the corner of South River School Road and Boyce's Landing, where we lived for 15 years. The purchase of this land turned out to be a good investment for us and for our future. Unfortunately, my husband, Ron Williams, passed suddenly and unexpectedly on October 29th, 2017. I'm sorry.
Take your time, ma'am.
I sold our house in 2018 and moved 3 doors down from my daughter and her family. There are rumors going around that I was offered a large sum of money for this parcel of land, and I refused to sell it to them. That is an absolute, it never happened, and is a complete falsehood. The first time I sold property after my husband's death was in 2020, where I sold 4 acres to an investor, and in 2022, I sold the farmhouse. I made the family aware each time and gave them the opportunity to buy it at market value. Last year, I started, and they don't think it's worth market value. Last year, I started planning for my retirement and sold the 25 acres across the road. I retired in June of this year after a career of nearly 35 years as a certified residential appraiser. 27 of those years, I served on the VA fee panel as a VA appraiser for Cumberland County. So that's why you hear me say market value so much. There has been ample opportunity over the past 9 years since my husband's death for the family and the neighbors to buy this property from me. If I had been offered anywhere near market value, I would have gladly sold it to them. It basically comes down to family and neighbors wanting to control the land around them, but not willing to pay market value to own it. We should never say never. People say they'll never sell their land, but life happens. Things can change in an instant, like mine did one Sunday morning, almost 9 years ago. Death happens, sickness happens, finances change. It sometimes becomes necessary to do things we never planned on doing. My husband and I spent 25 years paying for this farm. It is my land, and I should be able to sell it for market value. While current zoning is A1, requiring 2 acres, the request to rezone for approximately 1 acre does not seem excessive or out of the ordinary. My only purpose is to sell my land for market value in order to take care of myself during my retirement.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, will you call the next speaker?
Adam Furr.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
I'm going to piggyback a lot off of what Kenneth spoke earlier, but I did want to touch on some points with the South River School Road piece. Wanted to make it clear we're asking for 40,000 square foot lots. An acre is 43,560 feet. These are not small lots. We're not cramming them together. These are large home sites in Cumberland County. R40 is in our Cumberland County's future use land use plan. As a developer and as a builder, we've done all our due diligence on this project. We've went to Eastover Sanitary District. As they've said before, water line is on that side of the road, not across the road, not down the road. It is smack dab in front of the property. We hired a guy to go out and do a hydrant flow test. Not only is there ample water for everybody, every current resident on the road, there's more than enough capacity for the homes that we're proposing to build. We had a soil scientist walk over every inch of that property. Everything perked, everything is what we're asking for, the soil supported. As Kenneth said, DOT is aware, traffic count is low, there'll be no impact on the roads. The homes, I will speak upon that, these are not starter homes. The average sales price will be $360 to $475. The property just south of that had great success. Those are all mid-3s, 4s. So this is not a starter home community. This is nice houses in a nice subdivision. And again, it's 36 acres, and we're proposing it to get 28 lots. Any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be glad to answer for you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, will you call the next speaker?
Cody Sharpless.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chairman and County Commissioners. I'm Cody, reside in Fayetteville. I am currently the chair of the Governmental Affairs for the Home Builder Association of Fayetteville. This case, voting no against it would be saying not that you are for reasonable zoning or reasonable development. Voting no is essentially telling developers that Cumberland County is closed for business. Cumberland County needs more rooftops. You'll hear very shortly about people talking about traffic, better roads, these better schools, better infrastructure, safe water. The only way that's achieved is with more rooftops. The same people that are going to come up here and tell you that not here, don't want it, will say that in front of y'all and then complain to their neighbors that that area doesn't have quality schools, doesn't have nice places to shop, all right? They'll sit there and tell you they don't want it. I can tell you they don't represent everybody, all right? And I would employ you to look at this case, do the reasonable thing for Cumberland County on this case. Director Howard had mentioned VAD. He likes to mention that a lot. That literally just means they have to put a CYA on the plat. That's it. But he brings it up every chance he gets. I know everybody on this commission is smart enough to see through it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, will you call the next speaker?
Yes, there are 9 speakers opposed. First speaker, Michael Dowdy.
And Madam Clerk, if you'll just keep the time for the,
Good evening, Commissioners.
good evening.
I have some documents I'd like to share with you that I'm going to read off of here. I might speak fairly quickly since I'm trying to get in everything I have to say in my allotted time. Really what I want to ask you to do when considering this, I've got 3 numbers I'd like you to remember. 3 numbers that can measure the impact of the decision that you're about to make. First one is 13.7. Using the cost of services ratio, which is a pretty standard formula used by city planners to measure the cost of services measured against the return from property taxes and other things. What we have with this new community would be approximately, and I think it's low based on the numbers that I just heard from the developer, but an $8.4 million property value on these 28 homes at 49.9 cents per $100, the effective tax rate for property in Cumberland County right now. It looks as though the county would bring in about $41,900 in property taxes from these 28 homes. However, based on the $1.16 output that the Cumberland County Board would be spending to service these properties, we're looking at a $48,000 expenditures out. What that equals is $6,700 or 13.7% deficit to Cumberland County by zoning this R40 at the current 28 homes. So this is fiscally irresponsible. You're going to hear from lots of folks who all have personal reasons, right, why they don't want a lot of homes crammed into a small area. I'm trying to give you numbers, I'm trying to give you some data to inform your decisions, all right? And I hope that the bottom dollar of the pocketbook of Cumberland County being in a 13.7% deficit for this property development would speak to you. So 13.7. My next number I would like you all, ladies and gentlemen, to please think about is 17. The document in front of you has a map. There's a 5 square mile circle drawn from the center point of the property that y'all are considering to be rezoned to R40. There's an estimated 1,337 people in that 5 square miles. At a very conservative estimate of 2.46, which is the North Carolina average household residency, you're asking to put 69 more people inside of a 5 square mile area. This is a 5.1% increase in population in a 5 square mile area, 5.1%. The average growth in Cumberland County year over year for the last decade has been 0.3%. This is a disproportional, I'll finish very briefly. This is a disproportional effect on a very small rural community to absorb a population increase that is not shared by the rest of the county.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I have a third page for
Thank
you
you, sir.
to please
Thank you,
reference.
sir.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, will you call the next speaker?
Donna Ringgold.
Good evening.
My name is Donna Ringlet, and we bought property on South River School Road 4 years ago and built a house. And thank you for letting me speak, too.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like you to know that the decision you make today will impact the future of our lives, our families, our livelihoods, and the outcome of future generations in general. This vote is not a one and done. The vote you make now will change the landscape of living in the country as we all know it. Ms. Williams, I'm sorry for your circumstances. I truly am. But all of us here have purposely moved out to where we are now living to be able to have space and room for our families and our animals. And Chase, who you're going to hear from, his professional turkey farm, that's his income and his livelihood. And they want to tamper with that. And 4 years ago, A1 made us buy 2 acres. And I don't understand, if worse comes to worse, they should be held to the same accountability as all of us do. We all have 2 acres. I would like none, but I'm willing to compromise at least. I understand her position, but she shouldn't get special benefits here. She should have to do it the way we all had to do it just 4 years ago. And I also believe that if you allow the rezoning of this property, this builder will be allowed to purchase every parcel he can grab, every deceased widow he can buy. This isn't going to stop. He's going to be putting every house on every corner and plot of land in the 30 and the 40 houses. And all these houses totally change the dynamics of our landscape and the ecosystems around our properties for the negative, irregardless of what this gentleman told you. In our present neighborhood, I don't know if you know where it is, our roads are already bad. They're pitted. We have semis going down them. The traffic is constant. The new fire department that you just saw the picture of, it's not large enough to handle this quality of EMT and fire. I know that. I used to work on a fire department. And we have one grocery store, one food line for all of us, and they've already built a bunch of houses to the left of us and to the right of us. And I also would like you to consider what happens in the future to us when the development people decide that they don't want to live next to a smelly turkey farm anymore, or these people in the development don't want to live next to a livestock or cattle or anything like that. They'll be in front of you trying to throw us out. And it's different. It's not just putting houses. This is affecting our personal properties, and they're trying to change what we have already. I don't think you should make special recommendations for her. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk, if you'll call the next speaker.
Richard Ringlet.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Commissioner members. I just want to say right up front that I'm completely against the rezoning of this land. Just completely against it. I moved from Grays Creek. When I went to Grays Creek, it was country. That's all that was out there. There's no gas stations, there's no grocery stores, it was just all country. I moved from there because houses were being built, subdivisions, not just homes on property, but subdivisions were being built like the one they're proposing now. And they just got worse and worse and worse. So we moved up to, they call it Wade, that's our mailing address. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I am Richard Ringlet from 3401 South River School Road in Wade. It's actually really northeast over is where it looks like it's located, but they call it Wade. But anyhow, I moved up there with my wife, you just heard from, to enjoy the country. We like animals. We like to have nice neighbors we can go talk to, and our crime is almost zero. Almost zero. I'm afraid that's going to change. I mean, I don't even lock my barns or my house most of the time if I'm not going out of town. If I'm just going to run to Fayetteville or to Wade or somewhere, and that has changed. I've already seen that. I've already had people walking the streets just from the ones that's being built now. Water runoff. Mr. Adams had asked about water runoff. What's going to happen to that with all the rain we've been having? Now, obviously, we haven't had a lot of rain here lately, but it's going to come. It'll be there. And if they go and build all these lots and stuff and they reflow the water, where's it going to go? Where's it going to go? The environment, the traffic, and the safety, which we've already had a vehicle hit a telephone pole, knock out the power for 7 hours. We're going too fast. I called DOT and asked them to please evaluate the speed limit on that road because we're having more homes built and everything. They needed to check it and see if they need to reduce the speed. They didn't do that. They never answered me, yes, no, or indifferent. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. But a large subdivision is definitely not what I'd like to see on South River School Road in Wade, North Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, if you call the next speaker.
Jimmy, I'm sorry, I can't read the last name, I apologize.
Shepherd.
Shepherd, thank you.
Well, my name's Jimmy Shepherd, and I live right off of Collier Road. And I have the same worries as most everybody's already been talking about. South River School Road is a little narrow road, and this will make an impact to the area, and negative as far as I'm concerned. And I'm like a lot of these people, we moved out there to get away from this. Now it's come to our back door. And the man does have a turkey farm there, and I was glad to hear that they're saying if the people move out there, they have a warning that that farm is there, but it is kind of hard to live next to a turkey farm. I live 1,700 feet away from it, and I hear it and smell it, and these people are going to be right there 100 foot from him. So I don't want it at all. I just don't want a big housing area there. We moved out there 30 years ago, and man, has it grown since we moved out there. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, will you call the next speaker?
Cindy Shepherd?
Hello, my name is Cindy Shepherd, and I have lived out in that community for 32 years. The last 10 years I've been retired, so I've seen a lot of changes. In the last 5 years, there's been a significant change. You go and build another subdivision, and it's going to get worse. I have concerns about the quality of life of the people who already live there. The traffic has gotten much worse. The noise has gotten much worse. The congestion has gotten much worse. I have environmental concerns. That proposed development is 1,500 feet from where I live. And yes, they would probably connect to Eastover Water. But when you add 28 new homes, people want their yards to look nice. They're going to be using insecticides, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. They're going to be using fertilizer. All that percolates down into the water table. I'm still on a well. I don't want that shit in my water. There are 18 acres of woods between myself and the turkey farmer. But believe me, if the wind is blowing right, I know when he cleans out his turkey barn. It doesn't bother me. My parents grew up as farmers. I was used to it. I also have concerns about that farmer and the other farmers. If you ever get stuck behind a big farming implement, and those are little curvy roads, hilly curvy roads, you can't pass them. The traffic out there has gotten so much worse, and I've seen people doing some really risky things. There's an impact to the wildlife, or environmental impact to the wildlife. I feed the birds. I'm a birder. I've counted 42 different species in my yard on my property coming to my feeders. In the last 5 years, 19 of those species have either disappeared or been greatly reduced. When you add another subdivision, that's going to make it even worse. I can't remember the last time I saw a deer run across Collier Road, and I used to see them not daily, but weekly. I can't remember, the last fox I saw was being eaten by the vultures on Collier Road because somebody drove too fast and killed it. I am totally against this subdivision.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk, will you call the next speaker?
Olivia Butler.
Madam Clerk, we're coming up on the 15-minute.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hold on one second, ma'am, please. Okay. Go ahead, ma'am.
My name is Olivia Colbreth Butler. I live at 3308 South River School Road in Wade. My husband and I, Adam, recently just purchased our home. If you look at the map, we are the second rectangle down below Madeline Drive. We are not part of that neighborhood. We would not have purchased that home had it been part of that neighborhood. That being said, I'm not speaking tonight simply as a new resident or someone who is opposed to change. I'm speaking as someone whose family has deep roots in this rural community. My parents, grandparents, and generations before them grew up in Eastover. I've watched the community change over the years from a quiet, close-knit farming community into an increasingly busy, developed area. While it has been difficult for my family to watch our small-town charm disappear, Eastover will always be home to us. That history is a big part of why Adam and I made the decisions we made looking for our own home. We had always dreamed of building a home near my parents so that we could remain close to them, especially as they get older. Nearly 2 years ago, we began pursuing that dream.
Take your time, ma'am.
Sorry. Unfortunately, our dream was shut down. I will not go into the politics or circumstances around that decision tonight. But I mention it because it shaped where we eventually chose to live. We began looking again. When we began looking again, Adam and I were very intentional about what we wanted. We did not want a neighborhood with an HOA. We did not want homes packed closely together or the feeling of being surrounded by development. We wanted space. We wanted quiet. We wanted land. And most importantly, we wanted the rural way of life. We looked diligently for property within our budget that would allow us to have those things while still keeping close to my family. We eventually found our home on 2.5 acres on South River School Road in Wade, adjacent to the River Landing neighborhood on Madeline Drive. Although we were not originally looking to live next to a neighborhood, we chose our home because it was technically not a part of that development. We believed that we had found a compromise, a place where we could have some land of our own while still being close to my family. We moved to Wade for the very same reason that the longtime residents want to preserve it, because it is country. It is not town. It is not supposed to feel like a crowded subdivision. It is a place where people value open land, agricultural privacy, and quietness. I know I'm out of time. I will leave the rest of this with you, but one thing I would like to add, we have the best schools on that side of the river in all of Cumberland County, and I'm a teacher at one of them.
Thank you, ma'am.
We don't want that neighborhood.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk, will you call the next speaker?
Keith Jackson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Chairman,
County Commissioners, thank you for your time this evening. I do want to speak that, my name is Keith Jackson. I stay at 3291 South River School Road, Wade, North Carolina. I'm opposed to the rezoning of this parcel from A1 to R40 and fully support the determinations by the Cumberland County Planning Board and Planning Department. I want to briefly make 2 points to support this opposition. This area is very rural. You've listened to it this evening. There are 75 residential homes on South River School Road, and all are constructed on 2-acre lots or greater. This has been the established requirement of A1 zoning for years. This requirement has continued with recent development on the southern end of South River School Road and the developed parcel adjacent to the 36 acres of Madeline Lane. That's a continued development on the 2-acre or larger parcel, A1 parcels. The second point I want to make is this community falls within the Bethany land use plan that was developed in 2021 that describes this area in its vision statement as a, quote, a welcoming, vibrant rural community that recognizes the intrinsic and tangible value of the preservation of farms, farmland, agriculture, water quality, wildlife resources, and the rural lifestyle, end quote. The land use plan was developed with the input of residents. The plan reflects the current needs and desires of the South River Road population to remain advocates of agricultural practices, and the rural lifestyle. In closing, I would like to define in the Bethany Land Use Plan, page 39, quote, residents have indicated an overwhelming desire for this area to remain rural and to sustain and provide for growth of farms and farm-related enterprise in this area, end quote. For this parcel of land to remain A1 zoning provides a support for farms and farm-related businesses with a residential density of 1 unit per 2-acre lots. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, will you call the next speaker?
Dwight Robinson.
Madam Clerk, I think that's moving us over the 15-minute threshold, so board will continue to move forward and then provide opportunity for the other side for any additional comments.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is my first meeting of this nature. I wasn't prepared to speak. I didn't think that, I didn't know once I saw my name that I would have to speak. But I am interested in this project because my family owns some of the property behind it to the north. That way it's north, towards the river, and most of that. So to me, it looks like there is an access road from there. And to me, this map looks like that's the road that we use to get to our property in the back. Unless the map's inaccurate. And that's my concern about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, will you call the next speaker?
Chase Lipford.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
My name is Chase Lipford, and my family has owned and operated our commercial turkey farm in Cumberland County for the past 8 years. Each year, we raise approximately 60,000 turkeys, just 2.1 million pounds. That's it. And our farm is an important part of the county's agricultural economy. I'm here tonight to respectfully ask you to vote no on case ZON-26-0031. This rezoning is about much more than 36 acres. It's about the future of agriculture in Cumberland County. Every time farmland is rezoned for residential development next to an existing farm, agriculture loses ground. A commercial turkey farm is a highly regulated business. We follow strict biosecurity practices to protect the health of our birds. Our operation includes feed deliveries, farm equipment, ventilation fans, trucks, lighting, and activity at all hours when necessary. You're not there when I'm in the ceiling at 1 o'clock in the morning beating my trailer down the road that these people are going to have to listen to, and me beating on something with a sledgehammer. You're not there. These are normal and essential parts of farming, not nuisances. When homes are built close to a working turkey farm, conflicts are almost unavoidable. New residents may not expect farm traffic, equipment, or agricultural odors. Complaints often follow, and the farmer who was there first ends up under pressure simply for operating a legal farm. That is not fair to the families who have invested in agriculture and are helping feed our community. I understand that Cumberland County is growing, and I know growth is important, but growth should be planned in a way that protects existing farms instead of creating conflicts that threaten their future. Once farmland is developed to residential development, it's gone forever. It's gone. It's gone. My family chose to invest in Cumberland County. We have spent the last 8 years building our farm and raising approximately 60,000 turkeys each year. We are committed to agriculture, but we need to know that the county is committed to protecting the farms that are already here. I ask you to think the long-term consequences of this decision. If we continue approving residential rezonings next to working farms, we are slowly pushing agriculture out of Cumberland County. Please help protect our farm, other farming families, and the future of agriculture by voting no. My biggest question is when that one bad apple moves in that neighborhood, which one of you's gonna go to court with me? Which one of you's gonna pay that bill? Who's coming with me? Nobody. Your vote really means a lot, and it means more than what you know. Because I'm gonna be the one standing there having to deal with somebody that wants to tell me about an odor. That I was there first. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, was that the last speaker?
That was the last speaker.
What was it?
5 minutes, 48 seconds.
Okay. So, 5 minutes, 48 seconds?
Yes, sir.
Do we have any individuals that spoke that were signed up to speak that would want additional time? All right, seeing none, this time we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And commissioners, I will open it up for questions. Commissioners, questions? Commissioner Adams, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a question. Well, I kind of do. I guess because to make sure, Ross, that I heard what they said, which is they weren't going to use Boss's Landing Road as an exit. So this means this only has one way in and one way out, which is going to be off of School Road?
I'm assuming it's going to be right here because that's the only feasible place it could be.
Okay.
Right.
So, I've always had an issue with one way in, one way out. We've got enough of those communities around, subdivisions around our community to be able to do that. That's always been a problem. And for this board, if I remember correctly, right across the street that's the reason I asked you about the water. This came up before, and I think that the last person that had the turkey farm argued against rezoning the piece across the street, which is that P1919 on our map, which is, and I guess after we heard it, that applicant withdrew their request because of the questions that were asked. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Patel, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Howard, I have a question to clarify. So with the existing A1, what, in our packet, I believe, and this may be a question, Mr. Chairman, for the applicant, it's showing that there's currently density for up to 18 dwellings, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Was there conversation at the planning board about if that development would be, if 18 dwellings would still be developed if they weren't getting their rezoning?
I don't believe that was brought up.
Mr. Chairman, at some point, can I ask the applicant that?
We can bring Mr. Smith back up to answer that question. Mr. Smith, I just ask that you keep your answers contained to the question. If you stray, I'll ask you to stop.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember what the question was.
Commissioner Patel will ask the question again.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So my question, Mr. Smith, is, currently as it stands, it's A1 zoning. If your client was to still continue without being able to get zoning, would they potentially, or likely, what's the likelihood that you'd develop the land into housing?
With the 17 or 18 lots currently, we were missing our projections. With R40, we were exceeding them. So that's why at the Joint Planning Board level, I looked at several members and said, hey, we're open to conditional if we can find a compromise somewhere in the middle. So I'm open to that still tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that's it.
Thank you,
for
Mr.
now.
Smith.
Yep.
Any other questions, Commissioner Patel?
No, not right now, sir. Thank you.
Commissioners, other questions? Mr. Howard, question on water and sewer in that area. Understand that ESD water is available. Where is the closest sewer?
Not in this immediate vicinity. So it's even off the map, in here. I mean, I can't be able to answer that question because we didn't really look that specific into the larger region, but I know it's not within a couple of miles of this site.
Is there a projection, and I know this goes back to the question that Commissioner Tyson had, and I just want to reiterate to staff that the understanding of infrastructure with how this board looks at things, it's important for us to understand where the current capacity is, but also the future capacity. So do we have an idea of build out for future capacity? And I may be directing away from Director Howard to County Manager. Do we want to have somebody else answer, or can they answer that?
So the water line for this area is the Eastover Sanitary District. The sewer is the proposed East Central Water and Sewer District.
And the status of that, we're in the early exploration phase, correct, of that?
That is correct.
Okay. 10 years away. Commissioner Adams, you're recognized.
I've always been a proponent of development, but I'm also a part that we are losing just a lot of our farmland, and that has always been a concern. I've talked about it on this board. I've talked about it in the past. Everything around here is A1, except for that R40A up top and that R40. You got an R20 way down there, but it's basically agriculture and A1, and I understand when folk want to move. I live in the city because I like to have my neighbors and stuff, but I understand those folk who want to move out into the rural area to be able to have all of that. I've seen, I used to have deer run up to my backyard, and they've developed behind me, so I do understand that. But I have a problem when everything around here is an A1. I think if they were, I guess at some point it'll start changing as we move forward, but right now, that farmland is just important to me, and that's where I stand. Thank you.
Commissioner Tyson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are we in the point in the proceeding we can have comments, or are we still doing questions? I just want to make sure I understand, because I do have a comment, I just don't have a question.
You can go ahead and have a comment or a question, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Chair, and I know you know this from our time together, going with the coffee with the commissioners and all that, but, I grew up in a rural setting. My grandfather was a farmer, and I grew up in Eastover, actually, right there at the corner of Dobbin Homes and Underwood, very rural. And I can tell you, as a young man, coming up, when my grandfather got sick, my family didn't have the money to pay to take care of him. And it was actually one of the gentlemen in this audience right here. His dad actually bought some of our farmland. And that allowed my granddaddy to have 2 more years on this earth. And I wouldn't trade that for anything in this world. I'm going to tell you that right now. And so when I hear Miss Williams talking about she's lost her husband, I don't know what her financial situation is, doesn't matter. But when she's looking at this tonight, and this may be her means of being able to provide and take care of herself for the rest of her life, I think that's a burden that this board has to consider. When you balance that with also the needs of the community, Mr. Chair, I just think that there's, to Mr. Smith's point, a way that we can have a discussion about a conditional, potentially. And I would be in favor of moving back to that, but I just think we gotta think about, and I respected the farmer's comments. I got another farmer that lives in Graves Creek who tells me, hey, Mr. Tyson, that's my retirement. That's my retirement, is that land. So we have a tremendous burden here tonight on both sides. And I appreciate the fact that everybody came out to have their voices heard. But Mr. Chair, I think we should seriously give this the consideration that it deserves. Allow it to go back to look at a conditional and come back to this board, just like we did on Mr. Mobley's case where it came back as well. So that would be my recommendation, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Tyson, and I think this board knows we don't like to make the sausage on the diet, so to speak. So I will, Vice Chairman Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm actually in agreement with my counter colleague here because it is a very difficult decision and we're trying to look at both sites. And I would like her to get the same fair opportunity as he has stated and mentioned that we have provided in the other case situation. So I think that perhaps maybe we could take it back to the planning board and see if they can find some type of resolution. I do agree with Commissioner Tyson. Thank you, Chairman.
Commissioners, any other comments or questions on this item? Director Howard, you said at the Planning Commission, I'm sorry, Commissioner Fairclough, do you have something? Go ahead, sir.
I heard Commissioner Tyson's recommendation. I don't know what the motion's going to look like, but a lot of you know that I lived out in Eastover for many, many years, and Mr. Tyson and his siblings lived down the street from my boys, and they grew up together. But I feel like we ought to look at some sort of compromise here because I see both sides of it. The density, even though it's R40, is still a little strong, I think, for the region. But I don't know that over the next 25 or 30 years we're going to keep Eastern Cumberland County rural. I don't think we're going to be able to do that. And where it starts, I'm not sure. But if we can't come up with some sort of compromise that's agreeable to the community and to the applicants, my position would be a no on this rezoning.
Commissioners, other questions or comments? Seeing none, Commissioner Patel, did you want to put something in the form of a motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the floor. I would put in the motion that this board asks the joint planning board and to reconsider this and see if there's a compromise that can be met that will balance both the harmony of the community but still allow for reasonable, sustainable development.
Second.
So we have a motion to move this item back to the joint planning board for, with a request to have continued discussion with the applicant on potential other options for this zoning. It's been properly seconded. Do I have discussion or comments on the motion? Commissioner Adams, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just so that everybody understands my vote when I do it, is that I will be voting no for the motion because it's A1, and I don't think even going down, if you're not going to go down to 18, still would not be compatible to that area. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioners, any other questions on the motion? Commissioner Tyson, you're recognized.
And Mr. Chair, just to clarify, the direction to Director Howard would be to take some of the information tonight back and to have this discussion with the Joint Planning Board on what this board's action is tonight, correct?
That's
If it
how,
passes.
that's how I understood it. I'll get Commissioner Patel to clarify, but also around the discussion around the conditional side that was mentioned, that was not discussed at the Planning Commission. Commissioner Patel, you want to clarify any of that?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For clarification, we want you to take it back, or my motion is to take it back with an open mind, not adding any prescriptions or conditions right now. I think there is in the packet, going back to the original Joint Planning Board meeting, some conversation about conditional zoning. If it stayed, I believe, A1, I'd like to see that explored. But other than that, I don't think there's anything else to add, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments on the motion? And the motion is to, as Commissioner Patel just restated, move it back to Joint Planning, Director Howard.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Commissioner, if I heard you, not talking about conditional zoning, you're saying take it back to the planning board for a further discussion.
Yes, and I know you've had some other discussion, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
If I may. And it didn't seem like it was flushed out in the notes. So if conditional zoning was brought up during the last Joint Planning Board, I'd like to see something of that conversation come to fruit.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments on the motion? So the motion is to move it back to the Planning Commission for further discussion. Commissioner Adams, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just have one question.
On the motion?
Yes, I guess on the motion. It's kind of on the motion, I guess. It is on the motion because he's talking about going back to do the conditional zoning. When conditional zoning was done, it wasn't for this purpose. It was a different purpose for conditional zoning. Is that correct?
Well, conditional zoning in its broadest sense is meant for situations where it may not be a clean fit, and you want to be able to put conditions and things like that in order to be able to limit all sorts of things. You can limit, like the density, setbacks, lot layout, however you want to do it. The thing about our conditional zoning process is that they would have to be able to develop a site plan that would have to be reviewed by you at that point, so that is something that they would have to do. And then we would have to review it, and then we make our recommendations based off that. So, I think that's the key thing, is that it will actually give you something you can look at that you can make a determination on, that we can hold them to. If that makes sense.
Commissioner Adams, does that answer your question?
I got one further question.
You're recognized.
So when this goes back to the planning board,
Yes, sir.
is it then open for everybody to come speak on whatever that is that you just talked about?
Absolutely.
And it'd be noticed with my little sign out by the road, I guess?
Yes.
Okay.
The big sign by the road.
The big sign by the road.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments on the motion? All right, seeing none, I'll ask for your vote. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Voting in favor, Commissioner Tyson, Vice Chairwoman Jones, Chairman Deviere, Commissioner Patel, and Commissioner Fairclough. Voting in opposition, Commissioner Adams.
Stay right there, Director Howard. All right, Board, we'll go ahead and move to item E, case ZON 260033. And we'll pause if we'll just stand at ease for a second, we're going to have a lot of people walking out of here. If you will please exit quietly if you can, we are still going to try to conduct business. Again, if you will exit quietly, and so we can continue our board meeting and continue our business. All right, Director Howard,
sir.
case 09-26033, you are recognized to present this case.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As mentioned, this is case ZON 260033, and I'm waiting for technical.
Operator error.
No, it's not operator error. I pushed the button. So what? There. I appreciate it, though. Is that what it is? Is it just not reading it? There we go. All right. So you want to take with some All right. As you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, case ZON
All right,
26.
let's come to order. Let's go ahead, Director Howard.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, not you. I'm trying to get this door shut.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We're good? All right. So as you stated, this case ZON 260033, this case is in the southeastern part of the county along Turnbull Road, as you can see by the light, the red star that's highlighted on the screen in front of you. The applicant owner is Kathleen Bryant. The request is to go from A1 to A1A, much like a similar case we heard this evening, was to put a second dwelling on their property. You can see that this is Turnbull Road. Let me get the arrow back here. As you can see, this is Turnbull Road. The lot in question is this red cross-hatched lot that you can see there. Largely an agricultural area out in this particular spot of the county, surrounded by some single-family and manufactured homes. So you can see that. This is more of a zoom in, but you can see there's an existing home on the property here, but it's largely A1, pretty much all A1 all around it. More of a close-up. There are no hydric or hydric inclusion soils on the property, and there's no water or sewer out here, so they would have to be able to apply for the environmental health for well and septic. So there's that for the utilities. This does lie in the Southeast Cumberland Land Use Plan, which designates this entire area out here as farmland. There's some supporting goals and recommendations that basically are about the rural character and the preservation of agricultural areas, and the associated zoning districts that would be applicable to this would be A1 and A1A, so staff felt it was plan compliant as it was submitted. This is the subject property here. You can see the sign right there. It's the northwest view with the site immediately on the left-hand side, looking across the street of Turnbull. And then on the right with the site immediately on the right-hand side, but this is looking in the southeast view. Staff does recommend approval of the request. When we took this at the last planning board meeting, they supported it by a 9-0 vote. Try to answer any questions if you can.
Commissioners, questions before we go to the public hearing? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
We'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Commissioners, any questions or comments on this case? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Faircloth, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, I would move to approve the rezoning request from A1 Agricultural District to A1A Agricultural District. The board finds that the request is consistent with the Southeast Cumberland Land Use Plan, which calls for farmland at this location. The board also finds that the request is reasonable and in the public interest, as it is compatible to and in harmony with the surrounding land use activities and zoning.
Second the motion.
We've got a motion to approve the rezoning request from A1 to A1A. It's been properly seconded. Any discussion or comments on this motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for your vote. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Unanimous.
And we'll go ahead and move to item F, case ZON 260034. Director Howard, you're recognized.
Okay. 1 second, please. I'm going to try to do what you did. There we go.
Geek Squad.
It's not operator error.
This is unlike you, Director Howard.
I know, right? I'm going to hold my mouth.
He's got more fancy equipment over there.
There we go. Thanks, Lorenzo. Appreciate it. So as you stated, this is the final case for the evening, ZON 260034. As you can see, this is out toward the southeastern area of Eastover, as highlighted in the red star in front of you. This is the site of Santa Rosa Road. For those of you that might be familiar, there's Baywood Road over here. This is the intersection of Santa Rosa and Baywood, but the site in question is this crosshatched area that is sitting right here for about 12 acres. The applicant owner is D. Brian Rayner Farms. The agent is Mr. Scott Brown, and the request is to go from A1 to RR Rural Residential for the intent of a future single-family development. Largely surrounded by single-family homes, pretty solid transitioning area from ag going into housing. Just the zoning map, you can see, as I said, this is going to RR. You have RR to the north, you have RR to the west, you have denser to the south here of R10, but largely, as I said, this is a transitioning area, so you have various smatterings of different types of density for residential uses, as you can see. Pretty much a farm field currently. There is water and sewer in this area, so you can see highlighted by the star that would probably have to be extended, but there is the presence or the pretty significant presence of utilities all out in this area. We looked at this against the Eastover area land use plan, which calls for rural density residential out in this area, which supports various types of rural density goals for housing, primarily providing a full range of housing types at various densities. I think you can see by the zoning map that's kind of there, and it's continuing. So some of the districts that were associated out here for that particular land use plan designation include R20, RR, R30, R40. So we felt that the request as submitted was consistent with the adopted land use plan. This is the subject property. You can see the sign out for public notification. This is looking east view on Santa Rosa Road with the site immediately on the left-hand side. This is looking across the street to the existing subdivision that's there. And then this is the west view with the site immediately, or the sign immediately on the right-hand side of the road. Staff does recommend approval of the request. When we took this to the planning board meeting, their last meeting, they did recommend approval by a 9-0 vote. I'll try to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Director Howard. Any questions, commissioners, before we open the public hearing? Commissioner Adams, you're recognized.
Again, I ask, just one way in and one way out?
We don't know until we get a plan, but
Yeah, but I mean, there's no
potentially.
road behind it. That looks like the only way. Is the
It's
road
a-
in the front.
It's a possibility, very strong possibility.
Thank you.
Anything else, Commissioner Adams?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Tyson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, but Director Howard, it could just as easily have two, though, one on each side.
You mean a stub out, for example?
No, I mean, it could have two separate, an entrance and an exit separate on Santa Rosa. It could have two
Potentially.
different entrances.
Yeah, potentially.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions, Commissioner, before we open the public hearing? All right, seeing none, we'll open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
We'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, other questions or comments on this zoning case? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. Vice Chairwoman Jones, you're recognized.
Yes, I move to approve the rezoning request from A1 Agriculture District to RR Rural Residential District. The board finds that the request is consistent with the Eastover Area Land Use Plan, which calls for rural density residential at this location. The board also finds that the request is reasonable and that it's in the best interest of the public as it is found to be compatible to and in harmony with the surrounding land use activities and zoning.
Second.
We get a motion to approve the rezoning request from A1 to RR. It's been properly seconded. Any discussion or comments on the motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for your vote. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Voting in favor, Commissioner Tyson, Vice Chairwoman Jones, Chairman Deviere, Commissioner Patel, and Commissioner Fairclough. Voting in opposition, Commissioner Adams.
Thank you, Director Howard. I think
Thank
that
you,
ends your evening. We appreciate the planning board meeting we just, we'll move to item 4, items of business. Item A, consideration of tobacco 21 resolution. County Manager Greer, you're recognized.
Yes, Heather Skeens, Assistant County Manager, will present this item and answer any questions you may have. Heather?
Good evening.
Good evening.
David Robertson, our Regional Tobacco Control Manager, is here to provide a quick overview of HB or House Bill 430, Solly's Law. This is a law aimed at protecting youth from the harms of vaping and nicotine by regulating tobacco and vapor product sales. In addition, the Health Department and Board of Health are requesting that Board of Commissioners adopt and sign the Tobacco 21 resolution that Mr. Robertson will review. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Robertson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Board, for having me. I'll make this quick. Just kind of an overview of the impacts of vaping and tobacco use in general. 1 out of every 5 deaths in North Carolina is associated with tobacco use. 95% of all tobacco users start before the age of 21. As of 2022, 27% of high school students have reported some type of tobacco use. Vapes, in particular, disrupt the brain development. The brain does not stop developing until about the age of 25. So you're causing all kinds of problems, and you're rewiring the brain for these young folks when they're using all this stuff. It's going to cause learning deficits and addiction. Thank you. Addiction issues. According to a 2020 study, 91% of school administrators believe that vaping was somewhat problematic to very problematic, and 90% rated vaping as the highest priority within their school system. Most young people get their vapes from young adults that are between the ages of 18 and 21. So if you got someone that's in high school, 17 years old, they have a 19-year-old friend, they can go to the store and they can pick up vapes for them. North Carolina is currently one of 6 states in the United States that does not have a Tobacco 21 law in place. So what is House Bill 430? Also known as Solly's Law. It would raise the age limit to the age of 21. You would have to provide ID to prove your age. Will prohibit the sale to anyone under the age of 21, and it will, if they're caught, this will include prosecution. There is a note in there saying that if someone under the age of 21 is caught with that, then they will automatically refer to DSS as well, DHHS, and for cessation services. It strengthens the ABC Commission to issue permits, imposing sanctions, and enforce laws with the ALE enforcement. It's a Class 2 misdemeanor for vendors, and a young person will receive the ticket, and as I mentioned, will be referred to DHHS for cessation. North Carolina risks losing $5 million in block grant funding prevention, treatment, and recovery sites. The federal enforcement began in December of 2025. North Carolina is one of 8 states without a tobacco retailer system, and we got an update on that, so I'll make sure that I mention it in future slides. Again, we have not met the federal guidelines of 21. We are still at 18. 1.2 million high schoolers vape. That's 7.8% of all high schoolers, and the daily use for teens has increased from 15% to 29%. So this is just the status of House Bill 430. We don't have any movement on it yet, but as we did mention, it's scheduled to be hopefully this year appear before the General Assembly. Some updates: there is a special retailer license. When the House bill, the budget law was passed, then they kind of slid some different things in there related to vaping. So beginning July 1st in 2027, vendors are required to obtain a license. It will be a $1,000 initial fee, and this will allow enforcement of the Tobacco 21 once that becomes in place. You would require age of 21, and you would have to provide your ID, and there's a scan system that will be used to prove that that's a legitimate ID. So it makes a violation of these retailer requirements a Class 1 misdemeanor. The onus is going to be going to the individual buying the vape as well as the vendor. The provisions are different from something, say, as a Food Lion that's selling tobacco, nicotine products. They obviously can go into those establishments, but they would still have to require ID to purchase those items. So the next steps and recommendation, myself as Tobacco Control Manager, I'm asking for a signature from the board that would support the Tobacco 21 law and just kind of reinforce our efforts to preserve our youth and protect them from the harms of vaping. So it will be supported by the statewide Tobacco Coalition. I currently have presented to Montgomery County, as previously mentioned, Cumberland County Board of Health, also in Scotland County, and I'm scheduled to talk to Harnett County next week. So there's a strong presence for this. And it's been signed by the Board of Health and the Cumberland County Child Fatality Task Force as well. So I move to approve the adoption of a resolution in support of Tobacco 21 legislation to prevent youth from vaping and nicotine use to this consent agenda. Is there any questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Robertson. We're smiling because you said you moved to, but it's okay. Commissioners, I'll open it up for questions. Commissioner Tyson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I would just start off by saying I'm not in support of this resolution as presented. There's a couple of reasons why. One, placing the burden on our ABC system for permitting, I think creates an undue burden for our ABC. And as the ABC Commissioner, I can tell you that we've seen a decrease in sales there. We've seen an uptick and an increase in cost. The majority of our income at ABC doesn't come from permitting, it comes from sales. And so increasing an administrative burden on that system is going to decrease the amount that the county is going to end up getting at the end of the day from our alcohol sales. So that's one objection that I have. The other one, Mr. Chair, is, and I know you served, this is a military town. I just can't think that we can tell a young man or young lady, hey, you're 18 years old, you can qualify to serve in the military, but you can't choose whether or not you're going to smoke a cigarette or not. So those are my two objections, Mr. Chair, and why I don't support it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Tyson. Commissioner Adams, you're recognized.
And I just have a comment, because I went back, I saw on your first slide, you said 22% when they talked about the tobacco.
Yes, sir.
The question becomes, though, you talk about 1.2 million in terms of the vaping. So the question becomes, or the issue becomes, is that when they're asking those questions, that these kids don't believe vaping is tobacco use. That seems to be the offside of that, because you can't have 22% there and 1.2 million on the other end.
That's correct. It's education.
Well, I mean,
yes, sir.
it just doesn't, the slide doesn't make sense to me. But I do believe that talking to teachers, that if I'm walking, seeing that up and down Hay Street, it is a serious issue with young folk in terms of the vaping and all of that. I think the resolution is a good resolution. I do understand the issue with the permitting, but somebody's got to be able to do that. And maybe it's not the local one, but it could be the ABC. There's ALE and there's ABC, so you can do ALE, and then you don't have the local part and put it on the local agency to be able to do it. I'm truly in support of this resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments on this? A couple comments from the chair. Appreciate the awareness, especially around the vape piece, which is why I believe support what we saw in the budget that came from the General Assembly in the legislation that was there around vaping. I guess my question is, why a resolution now? And why is this being pushed now? Because this bill was filed in the beginning of 2025. The General Assembly is at their end of the legislative cycle. It didn't make crossover, which means it's probably not going to be heard. So why now versus building a coalition that then in the long session next year, you could bring it back and actually have a binding, because this resolution would be specific to this bill, which dies at the end of this year.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we actually do have a Tobacco 21 coalition within the state. And this would just, again, we just want to kind of build the support so that we're giving more pressure to make sure that it's being heard. That's the reason why we're pushing for the resolutions to support.
So just a quick follow-up. So the resolution now is because to try to propel the bill to be heard?
To gain support and get some steam behind it, since it hasn't been.
My concern is just board speaking resolutions, and this is going to be while it's a resolution that would show support of a bill, this bill isn't going to move, which is it's just my personal concern.
Yes,
I'm not
sir.
speaking as the chair. I'm giving my questions, but thank you. Commissioner Adams, you're recognized.
And Mr. Chairman, I do understand you in Raleigh more so than I am. But it's my understanding they're coming back in November, and they may take this up, may not take this up. So, and if it dies, we do the next one if it comes up to a bill. But I think it sends support and shows that this board is truly, this vaping it's an issue. And I think that we should support this resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Commissioner Faircloth, you recognize.
My comment is, I just don't see the issue going from 18 to 21. I think 18, you're an adult, and as Commissioner Tyson said, you're in the Army now, around here, and you should be able to buy tobacco. So, he struck a chord with me when he said that. So that's where I am.
Commissioner Faircloth, anything else? Vice Chairman Jones, you recognize.
I guess my concern is not only those that are 18, but in North Carolina, we do have 21.4% of students that are using vaping, and so I'm definitely in support of this bill because I don't want to send a sign that it's okay. We have a school vaping problem, 9.9, near 1 out of 10 middle schools reporting regular vaping. Also, high school seniors, as the stats say, 33.3%. So it is definitely an issue. If we have to start by saying we want to be in support, because we know that sometimes it takes time to get things to move. And with the rapid urgency, with 27% of high school, like I said, 20% of middle schools, and then with the rate of this impacting their health and chemical exposure and difficulty quitting, I definitely have to be in support to try to, do something, so. And maybe we can, you're right, legislative is very slow law, but, sometimes it's, House Bill 430, as they call it, solace law, is very bipartisan, moving very slow, but anything that we can do to help health-wise, to try to educate or slow things down, I'm all for. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chairwoman. Commissioner Tyson, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just one other thing I'd like to add. I'm not against, if we want to have tobacco education, vaping education, so people can make an informed choice. I have no issue with that. I would have no issue with funding those awareness programs. My issue becomes in the prohibition of someone who's 18 years old, and again, saying that, hey, you're legally an adult to where you can go fight for this country, but you can't decide, you're not allowed to have a cigarette. And that's really my objection, other than the other one about the ABC, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Adams.
This is my last thing, Mr. Chairman.
You're recognized. It's fine. This is a good discussion tonight.
No, and I hear you everyone talking about 18, but I'm going to tell you, I do enough juvenile court that they will tell you that these kids' brains don't mature till they're 25. So 18-year-old, and I understand them being in the military, but you still got the issue, you got all the other issues with alcohol and all of that. Sometimes you have to do, it may sound draconian, but you got to protect people from themselves. And this is kids whose brains don't get there till they're 25. They're listening to their peers. They're doing this. It's an issue, and it's bad. And I think we have to sometimes just say, this is what has to happen. And I understand the 18-year-old, but again, can't drink at 18 either. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams. Vice Chairman Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. He beat me to it. I was going to say, in my opinion, a substance is a substance, and exactly what I was going to say. You have to be 21 in the state of North Carolina, and there's a lot of reckless DUIs and all that. So to me, if you have to be 21 as they feel you're more responsible, for alcohol, the same should definitely, in my opinion, apply when it comes to smoking. They're both just as equally can be harmful, in my opinion. So, what's the difference? You got to be 21 to be able to drink. So, surely the same should apply for the smoking, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chairwoman. Any other comments or questions, Commissioners? So my last comment is, looking at the bill sponsors, none of our local delegation, either on the Senate side or the House side, sponsored or co-sponsored this piece of legislation. I also want to remind this body that we don't make laws. This is a support of a resolution to move forward a piece of legislation that may not move, and we get an opportunity to use our voice through a resolution at certain times. That's the purpose of the resolution, is not to legislate or support or not support the harms of vaping and nicotine. With that, I will entertain a motion. Commissioner Adams, you're recognized. You
Yes, Mr.
asked for it to be on this.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion approving adoption of a resolution in support of Tobacco 21 legislation to protect youth from vaping and nicotine products, and authorizing the chairman to sign that resolution. Understand we're not trying to legislate, but I think that we send a message, and hopefully let our delegation also know that we're in support of this.
Is there a second?
Second.
We've got a motion to support the consideration of the Tobacco 21 resolutions, been properly seconded. Any discussion or comments on this motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for your vote. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Voting in favor, Vice Chairwoman Jones and Commissioner Adams. Voting in opposition, Commissioner Tyson, Chairman Deviere, Commissioner Patel, and Commissioner Fairclough.
Go ahead and move. Thank you, sir. We'll go ahead, and thanks for your work on this. It is important work. We don't want to discourage I don't believe this board wants to discourage you from the work that you do. And as you move forward into the next session, legislative session, please ensure that we keep that on our radar screen. So when we're having those conversations with our legislature, maybe we can get their support of this as well, or something along these lines. We'll go ahead and move to item B, consideration of a request for engaging outside counsel. County Manager Greer, I'll let you turn it over.
Yeah, so I turn this one over to Rick Moorfield, County Attorney, regarding his request for outside legal services. Rick?
Thank you, Mr. Manager, Mr. Chairman, and Commissioners. I just need some help with the another case that's turning into an ordeal. And the other matter is we've had a couple of attorneys that have been doing tile work for those two departments for several years. It's not working out real well now, and we'd like to look at some additional attorneys. And if the board approve it, I could bring back hopefully an engagement letter for these at the first meeting in September.
Commissioners, questions? Commissioner Adams, recognized.
I understand the title one. What was the other one? What was what case is that one?
It's a case that was filed by the vendor that got one of the bids in the Crown projects, the netting. He sued the county saying that we violated the law in selecting the other bidder.
So he got one contract, didn't get the other contract.
You recognize
He got two
Commissioner Adams.
contracts. There were three. He got two of them.
And he sued him for the third.
Yeah.
Commissioner Adams, anything else? Any other questions on that?
No, sir.
Vice Chairman Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney Rick Moorfield, is this in reference to the speaker situation with the sound system?
Yeah,
I just
that's the one that the lawsuit's about. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure it's something nuts and different.
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Adams, you're recognized, round two.
I guess I'm sorry.
I got you.
As we do this, and I guess you've looked at these, they brought the lawsuit already? And so is there a possibility that we look to negate all three, so he doesn't get any of them?
There's no litigation over the two he got. It's just the one.
I don't know if you can bring it in. If he says the process is.
Attorney, Commissioners, I just ask you keep germane to the topic. We're not discussing the case right now.
Right.
Because we'd probably do that in attorney-client potentially. But this topic, the discussion tonight is around additional capacity as requested by our attorney to address two different capacity issues that he has in his office, not about a specific case.
Well, it was in the.
Commissioner Adams, I understand it was in the case, but we didn't need to start discussing that case. We can talk about the capacities of it. I'll come back to you in just a second. Commissioner Tyson, you're recognized, and I'll come back to you, Commissioner Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I would support this request. I think this board is well aware of how hard our county attorney works and what's on his plate.
And I think he would only come to us with this request if he seriously needed it, and I think we should take it seriously and look to approve the request that he's made, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams, or Commissioner Tyson. Commissioner Adams, you recognize.
And Mr. Chairman, it wasn't that I was opposed to this, but inside the background, it was talking about the lawsuit. So it's not like I was bringing it up. It was already laid out in this background that we got in the memo. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams. I understand that. It was just that we were talking about tactics of combining different cases and things like that. So this is about an issue on capacity for services.
Just this one lawsuit.
Two, and title.
Well, the title work is, that's already in place. We just need to get some additional.
Any additional questions or comments for Attorney Moorfield on this matter? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Tyson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I make a motion that we move to approve the request from the outside counsel subject to available funding, and that we ask the county attorney to bring back the agreement with a budget ordinance and to come back with a dollar amount and a scope.
Second.
Was that second?
Yes, sorry.
Just checking. Well, we've got a motion to approve the funding request for engaging outside counsel. It's been properly seconded. Any discussion or comments on the motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for your vote. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Unanimous.
All right, thank you. We'll move to item 5, nominations. No nominations for this meeting. Item 6, appointments. There are no appointments. At this time, we'll move to item 7, closed session. I'll entertain a motion. Vice Chairman Jones.
Yes, I move that we go into closed session for attorney-client matter pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A3, also personnel matters pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A6.
Second.
And real property, I'm sorry. And real property acquisition pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A5.
Second.
We've got a motion to go into closed session. It's been properly seconded. Any discussions or comments on the motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for your vote. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Unanimous.
All right, and we're in closed session. We'll be back.
Some people decide-
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to come out of closed session. Vice Chairman Jones, recognized.
Yes, motion to come out of closed session for attorney-client matters pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A3. Also, personnel matters pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A6, and real property acquisition pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A5.
Second. Got a motion to come out of closed session. It's been properly seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for your vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. No action for the board. Just a quick note, under attorney-client privilege, under attorney-client matter, we received an update on our pending Comores lawsuit, but no action for the board at this time. I'll recognize Vice Chairman Jones for a point of personal privilege.
Yes, just want to remind everybody, we are excited about the Women's Summit at Department of Social Services here in the great Fayetteville, Cumberland County tomorrow from 1 to 4 o'clock. Women's health in regards to infant care, maternal care, and women's general care. So if you have the opportunity to stop in, see our vendors, hear some great panels, we'd appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And this time, no other business come before the board. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
The motion to adjourn is properly seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Unanimous.
We're adjourned. Thank you, board.